Hello. I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to take a moment to speak on death. There's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. Um, a friend of mine called me and told me that his daughter died. Well, he called me today. His daughter died. I hadn't talked to him for like 2 weeks, and that's why. He normally calls, because I like to make sure that he's doing well, because he's having a rough time. So I try to check up on him and encourage him to call in when something's going on with his phone, so he can just let me know he's doing well. And I talked to him today, and he told me that his daughter died in a car accident. She was like 30, 32 or something like that. Maybe a little younger than that. But he's an older guy. But he's having a rough time. Needless to say, he's having a rough time. And it made me, want to just stop and reflect. Um, you know, it's hard. It's hard when we lose people we love. It really is. And then when you lose a child, it makes it that much more painful. I remember when, you know, my son was in the hospital. Um, it was really rough, and I remember going through all of these stages throughout that process and dealing with that uh, denial, pain, anger, frustration, hate. I mean, it was so many things running through me, and I didn't know how to sort out my feelings. I didn't know how to keep moving through that pain. I remember days being in the bathroom of the apartments that I lived in and just sitting in there and just crying and crying and crying. You know, when it was all said and done, he stayed in the hospital for 4 months after he was born premature, after his birth, and you know he had bleeding on his brain, what they call hydrocephalus, I believe, um, and the artificial valve that they put in there, or artery. It was an artificial artery or something that they put in there. It didn't do the job. It wasn't. It wasn't allowing the blood to drain off the brain, off his brain, like it is supposed to naturally. And so, it just kept backing up. And I remember just being really numb. And I remember feeling really, really bad, um, and defenseless and helpless, and, alone. And even though I had people around me, I still felt alone. Like I couldn't I couldn't, I was just still feeling alone. And the days I sat in the bathroom, I just wanted to be away, right? Away from everything and everyone. And that was just like the place that I would always retreat to, the bathroom. And I was just sitting there and I would just cry and cry and cry. And at the time, I had this picture. What's it called? The footsteps or footprints or something. Where I just kept looking at it, and it said basically the message behind that is that God is always with you. And I couldn't find that in me. I couldn't trust that he was with me. I couldn't believe that he was with me. I just couldn't understand how I got to that place. You know, how life, and it began to be bigger than just my son's passing. It was everything in my life, you know. That was just kind of the breaking point for me, and I just could not understand. And I remember many days breaking things and punching walls and being angry at people. I remember it got really bad for me, and I just didn't want to live. I didn't want to live. I remember going out to a club and just getting so drunk, and not being in control of my emotions, and leaving that club with no knowledge of how I was getting home, and walking down Florida Avenue in the middle of the street and just wanting to get hit. Like that was that was the easiest thing I could do. I just wanted to feel. I just didn't want to feel what I was feeling anymore, and I felt like if a car hit me, that maybe it would kill me. But everyone was on extra alert that night because all the cars was weaving and blowing and trying really hard to avoid any contact with me. And that was only God keeping me, safe. He watch over babies and fools. That's what they say, right? Well, that night I was a fool. I remember the police coming, and you know, they detained me because they said that I was a danger to myself, and wind up going to this rehabilitation place. And I was so drunk I didn't even know I was there. Didn't even know I was there until I woke up strapped down to a bed. And wound up having to go to a rehab. But that didn't. It worked for a little while. It worked for a little while. But that pain was still there. So I went right back to drinking. I didn't go back to that reckless behavior of trying to end my life. Um, but you know, at that time I didn't. Let me say that. Death is painful. It's painful to lose people that you love. It really is. It does something to you. We have to be strong through it. And I know it's easier said than done. I know it is. Because it ain't so easy when you're dealing with it. It's not easy at all. It's very, very hard to stay mentally strong. But we have to, because what happens is, the moral of my whole story is, what happens is when you don't, you know, get into yourself and your spirituality and mentally get yourself in the right state of mind, you do some wild things. And that situation can turn into something greater. Because had God not been with me that night, my situation would have turned into something greater. We wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation, or maybe we would be having a whole different conversation about something else, with me being, you know, impaired. We have to have faith and trust in the process of life. And part of the process of life is death. And we have to accept it. We can't change it. And it's sad because, people die so suddenly and we don't understand. I get it. We don't understand. But we can't question what he has ordained. We can't question it. We just have to keep on going on with life. And we have to find it in ourselves to just accept it to be what it is. And keep moving forward. Keep moving forward in a productive manner. This guy that I'm talking about, he had been on his journey of sobriety. And when he called me today, I can hear it all in his voice that the sobriety went out the window. And I don't know how long he's been drinking, because it's been 2 weeks since it happened and 2 weeks since I talked to him. But you got to stay strong, because what happens is you're drinking to your pain. And as long as you're feeling that pain, guess what? You're going to drink. And every time that pain resurfaces, guess what? You're going to drink. So we have to find ways to deal with our pain. And I know it's hard. It's hard. I know. I know. I didn't want to deal with my pain for a long time, and that's why I kept drinking. I couldn't deal with it. I mean, it's just still some things in me that, it's like I'm not over, but I know how to deal with it. Whereas I don't drink, I don't need a drink to deal with that. I found other ways to deal with it. I found other ways to deal with it. Because I understand today, I didn't understand this, that the problem is still there. It's going to be there. And you have to find productive ways to deal with it. Me taking a drink is not going to fix it. It's not going to fix it. That's just going to cause a whole nother problem. So, I'm wiser today. Whereas I know that. I'm conscious today. Whereas I can stand firm in that and understand the severity that comes with me relapsing. I mean, I didn't want to admit that I was an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic. You look at me, you would never know that I was, but I was. And I was in denial. But if I'm drinking every single day, that makes me an alcoholic. Now, I don't have no real dependency for it. I just wanted it. But it still doesn't change the fact that that's a excessive drinking, and that's what alcoholics do. I can accept that today because I'm not in that place. When you're in that place, you're always in denial. You don't think you have a problem. That's part of the problem. We really have to live in our days as if it is our last. We really have to change the way we're interacting with ourselves and other people because we never know when our last breath will be taken. We really need to stop procrastinating, and we really need to start moving towards our better tomorrows. We really need to start building ourselves and building our relationship with our higher power because we can't do this thing alone. And when that time comes, I think I'm safe to say that it'll be too late to be trying to, get it right with him. It'll be too late. It'll be too late. You just never know. You never know. I mean, stray bullets, car accidents, freak accidents, anything can happen. You want to live your life in such a way that when your time comes, you have no regret for the way that you lived your life. That the people around you know how much you love them and care for you. That they remember you and, they cherish you even in your death. A lot of people die and people just, he or she gone, or, you know, like it phases them not because the way that they lived their life when they were here, people didn't, really like the way that they lived their life and how they treated, individuals. So it's like, your absence doesn't move them. But when you've done some good, when you've been a wonderful person and people see good in you and people love you and you've touched people's lives and their hearts in different ways, they are moved when something happens. I don't care if it's a stranger and you only interacted with them one time. If you interact with them well, they'll always remember you. And they'll be moved if something happens to you. You want your life to have meaning and purpose. And even in your death, you want that to have meaning and purpose. You don't want people to just dismiss you when you leave this earth. You want them to remember you. You want to make sure that you left a positive memory, positive impacts behind with the people that you interacted with all the time when you interact with them. You have to make sure that what you're doing in this life is beneficial for when you transition into your next life, because we're not going to be here always. So we have to understand that. you know we have to make sure that we impact this world in a great way all the time. Without exception, anybody we come into contact with, we only want to leave them with the good. We don't want to leave them with bad. You know. Our number can be called any day. Any day. And you can't fight against it. There's nothing you can do. You just have to go with it. You know. It's the cycle of life. That's the only thing that we're guaranteed. When we're born into this world, the only thing that we are guaranteed, that we have a guarantee of, is that we're going to die one day. And we have to prepare ourselves. And part of preparing yourself is making sure that you're always in good standing. Making sure that you interact with people fair and just. Making sure that you treat people well. You know? Making sure that you have a spiritual connection. Right? I'm a firm believer, and then some people don't believe in heaven and hell. Some people don't, don't believe in God. That's on you. I believe in heaven and hell. I believe in God. I believe that there's a hereafter. I believe in the day of judgment. I believe in all of that. So with my belief in that, I know that I got to be right all the time. You know why? Because when your number is called, and if you're not going to heaven, your soul not going to return to heaven where it originated from, then it's going to hell. I mean, I'm just saying, you're going to have to lay there until the day of judgment, down there with all them serpents and all that other stuff. Yeah, there's some things that go on after death. There's some things that go on after death, whether you believe it or not. It is. And then when your time is cold, when you have to come back and answer for all your sins and all of that, to be determined whether you will make it into the hereafter, so on and so forth, then, hey, what you going to do? What you going to do? Because you, you know, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I was like, no, 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 no. No, you got to have answers. Real answers. You got to make sure that what you're doing is righteous all the time. I mean, that's the only way to save you. If you just fasten your mind to always being righteous, always doing the right thing, always moving in righteousness, you won't have too much to worry about. You won't have too much to worry about. You got to make sure, I'm going to get off of that. You got to make sure we're not going to have religious debates. Beliefs, what you believe may not be what I believe, and what I believe may not be what you believe. But it doesn't change the fact that there is a God. And moving past that, you have to make sure that the people in your life know how you feel about them. Don't have any regrets. You go around, you angry with this one or angry with that one, and then something happens, and that's the last time you seen, the last time you saw them was in anger. That hurts. That hurts because that's all you can remember. It's the last time, and you can't get that time back. You can't get that time back. So you want to make sure that you're not being, that you don't have any regrets. You got to make sure that you don't have any regrets. Just always do the right thing and keep them cool. Let's let them know that you love them. Let them know that you love them. Always, always. Let them feel that. Don't just let it be words that come out of your mouth. Let them feel that. Let them see that. Let them understand that. So if it happens to be the last time that you all meet, that you both, will be happy in your last encounter. You have to. You have to. I feel so bad, because it's really nothing you can do for a person. You try to be there as much as you can, and being there meaning your presence, because that means a lot. That means a lot. It's hard to find the words to bring comfort to someone when they've experienced loss. It's hard to find the words. But if you say nothing and you're just there, that's better than not doing anything at all. Okay? So we have to help each other through the process. And we have to make sure that it's an easy process when we go through it. And part of making sure that it's an easy process is making sure that you're always doing right by people. Making sure that you're doing right by people. Make sure you're doing right by yourself. Make sure that you're spiritually connected so that you won't have any regrets about the way that you're doing things. So that you won't have any regrets about the way that you're going about life. You have to make sure that you are on your path at all times. All times. All times. You cannot deviate from that. It is very important. It is very important. Okay? I'm trying to stay focused. Why my son came in here when he know exactly what I'm doing, I have no idea. But I'm not going to let that, that's the devil. He want to take me out of my element, and he used him to do it. He used him to do it. So I'm going to try to get back on track here. Allow yourself to be at peace in life and after. By allowing yourself to be in peace, you do things to bring peace. Okay? And while you're doing that, help others with that. Help others with that. Help them to understand the importance of staying on your spiritual path no matter what life throws at you. Stay on your spiritual path, because that is the only thing that really, truly will bring you through any obstacle, anything, any event that happens in your life, good or bad. That's the only thing that's going to bring you through. The only thing. And you have to stay focused all the time. All the time. And move forward. Move forward. Move forward. Even through your pain. You know who can help you with that. So you got to call on him. You got to ask him to deliver you from it. You got to understand that these things happen. This is the world we live in. And you have to keep on moving even through that. As painful as it may be. But let's start eliminating some of that pain by getting rid of some of these things that we do that's going to bring us regret later. You can't get that time back. So make sure that you do the most with your time while you're here. Make sure that you show everybody that you come into contact with how much you care and appreciate them. We all have our bad days. We all have our ups and downs. But overall, it's a good day. It's a good day because we're still here and we got time to try to get this thing right. So we need to just start moving forward, taking those steps, stop procrastinating, stop putting it off to tomorrow, next week, this one, that one. We need to do it. We need to do it. It's very important that we do it. Because when we taking our last breath, it is too late. It is too late. And we can't get that time back. So make sure that you're interacting out here just and fair. That you're doing the right thing and that you're spiritually grounded and connected at all times. And when something tries to take you off of your path, you just remember where you're going and who's going to help you get there. And you just call on him and he'll be there to assist. Always. Always. It's not an easy road. It's not easy. It's not easy. And there will be days when it gets really, really rough and really, really hard for you. But you got to keep on moving through that pain. You got to keep on moving through that pain. Your loved one will want to see you moving through that pain and doing something good. And hey, don't mourn me, celebrate me, because my life had meaning. You know, I had a rough ride. But the way I'm going now, no, celebrate me. Celebrate me and all the good things that I did, because I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate. I'm celebrating now because I know that I'm doing something wonderful, something great. So when my time comes, I can go in peace. I sure can. I can go in peace because I made right my wrongs. And I'm on a continuous journey to keep on making right my wrongs and to make sure that everything I do is in righteousness. I'm moving forward. Let's move forward. All of us, even after death. MJK.